My fiancé's betrayal led me to one wild night with his brother. You won't believe what happened. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. At 1:13 a.m., my fiancé's phone named the other bride. I was 2 weeks from our wedding and wide awake, scrolling venue emails with that careful, practical brain that keeps me from making dumb choices. I'm Claire, 29, a list maker, a saver, a romantic who still believes love should survive ugly truths. I'd stepped into a shower of rose-colored planning and only recently noticed the floor getting slick. That night the tiles turned to ice. Adam's phone bloomed on the counter, a banner sliding over his lock screen. Can't wait to try the suite again. Same time? The contact read, Aiden, caterer. The heart emoji laughed at me. I tapped the phone, and it face ID'd to his sleeping face, obliging like it always does. A thread opened. Photos from angles no caterer takes, hotel confirmations, an autofill receipt for room service that matched a date he'd sworn he spent with his brother Ethan at a game. I didn't scream. EMT training teaches you to triage before you bleed. I took screenshots, forwarded the thread to my own email, and copied the calendar invite labeled vendor walkthrough, which tagged a boutique hotel at the edge of downtown. When I scrolled further, I found a draft document, prenup addendum V3, saved in his drive. It assigned post-nuptial debt to the spouse with greater liquidity. That would be me. My hands shook, then steadied. Data first, feelings later. I searched our joint planning sheet and found new rows labeled rush fees, paid from an account I didn't recognize. A Cash App handle, nested in notes, matched the woman in the photos. He had hidden her in a spreadsheet like a rotten staple in a wedding cake. I closed the bathroom door quietly and watched Adam breathe. His face looked open, boyish, harmless. My throat burned at how easily innocence can be staged. I texted my sister Emily one sentence. I think he's cheating and maybe trapping me financially. She replied instantly. Prove it, then decide. I pocketed my keys and left the apartment for air that didn't lie. When I reached the elevator, my phone buzzed with a new message from Aiden, caterer. Your brother said you'd be reasonable. See you Friday? Ethan promised I'd be reasonable, and my stomach dropped hard. Adam and I were good at beginnings. We met over a malfunctioning espresso machine I fixed with a bent paperclip, and he told me I made broken things look elegant. He was image, I was function. Together, we were balanced, or that's what everyone said when the photos were bright and the captions breezy. If I noticed how he brushed off bills or called my job noble, not lucrative, I labeled it romantic static. A hum you live with. Looking back, the hairline cracks read like subtitles I refused to enable. He made jokes about prenups during game nights, floated private upgrades he'd reimburse later, borrowed my card for vendor holds that never quite reversed. When I asked for a copy of our venue contract, he kissed my forehead and said, You worry like a firefighter at a candle store. Friends laughed. I laughed too. The sound bought peace and cost nothing, until it did. At the bridal shop, the consultant chirped that our rush fee had cleared on my business card. I don't have one. Adam explained, smooth as satin, that he'd used a temporary corporate perk. Emily pulled me aside by the mirrored wall. Claire, she said, sharpening my name into a question. Are you seeing the pattern? I shrugged. He's stressed. She sighed. So are you. But you don't lie with receipts. That night, we reviewed seating charts. I asked about the prenup draft. He said we'd sign the final version next week when his lawyer returned from vacation. I suggested adding a clause protecting each other's premarital debts. He smiled. We're a team. Teams don't plan for betrayal. Before bed, I glanced at his phone on the nightstand and forced myself to look away. Trust isn't pretending not to see. It's having nothing to fear. I wanted to be the woman who didn't need to check. At 1:13, the phone named the other bride, and I became the woman who checks. I replayed the caterer thread with the relentless focus I use on airway assessments. Dates, times, hotel floors. A lipstick-smudged napkin in a photo with the hotel logo I recognized from our planning tour. My throat ached like I'd swallowed a snow globe of glass and glitter. If I'm wrong, let me be ridiculous. If I'm right, ruthless. Morning turned everything fluorescent and cruel. I made coffee, measured grounds by habit, and opened our shared inbox to confirm guest counts. A flood of receipts waited like small teeth. Microcharges from a florist we never hired. Refund reversals that conveniently landed after statement cycles. Wellness entries tucked between linen rentals. I clicked View Source on one invoice. The metadata listed a sender domain tied to a Cash App handle I'd seen in Adam's thread. The same handle appeared in the payment notes for a boutique hotel upgrade and a rideshare that started 2 blocks from our apartment while I was at work. I texted Adam, running errands before the cake tasting. Need the vendor contacts. He replied, phone dying. I'll send later. Minutes after, shared passwords rotated like a carousel, our cloud, our planning app, even the streaming login. He'd put everything in motion in case I woke up. That felt like the worst part. Not the cheating, not yet, but the engineering of invisibility. He wanted me blind by design. I took photos of every screen. I printed the prenup draft and circled the clause shifting post-nuptial liabilities to the higher earner, me. Emily FaceTimed from her office, fluorescent light in her hair. You're in a maze, she said softly. The only way out is evidence. I nodded. I have screenshots. She tilted her head. Screenshots are step 1. What's step 2? Step 2 was finding someone who already knew Adam's patterns. That list began and ended with Ethan. The brothers were close in that holiday photo way, a matching jawline and an easy lean. I'd always liked Ethan's steadier gravity. He returned tools he borrowed, parked straight, answered questions instead of performing them. I typed, deleted, retyped. Ethan, I need to ask something ugly. 10 seconds later, he called. No hello. Where are you? He asked, voice low and careful. I told him. Stay put, he said. I'll come to you. And Claire, don't confront Adam yet. I stared at the door like it might confess before he arrived. When Ethan knocked, the room felt suddenly honest, like a window finally unpainted. And the way he said it made the floor tilt sharply. Ethan stepped inside like he was entering a patient's room, not his brother's fiancé's apartment. He looked tired, older than 33, with a calm that cut through my shaking. He set down 2 coffees he'd picked up, like proof that he knew I hadn't eaten. Claire, he said, tell me what you found. I slid the stack of receipts, screenshots, and the printed prenup across the table. His eyes moved fast, but his face didn't change until he hit the line about post-nuptial liabilities. His jaw tightened. He's been at this for years, Ethan muttered. Not just with you. That sentence felt like a trapdoor beneath my feet. What do you mean? I demanded. Ethan rubbed his forehead. Adam, he hides things. Affairs, debts. I've seen him juggle women, open cards under their names, talk about convenient falls. I kept telling myself he'd outgrow it. But marriage? Marriage makes it permanent. I stared. And you never warned me? His silence was a wound I didn't know I carried. I thought, Ethan's voice cracked. I thought maybe you'd be the one to steady him. Anger and grief tangled in my throat. I pressed. Are you telling me he's done this before? Yes. Ethan's eyes met mine finally. And I think you should cancel this wedding. The sentence landed like a verdict. I wanted to scream, cry, run. Instead, I whispered, then help me prove it. Ethan exhaled. If you're serious, you'll need more than screenshots. He'll spin them. He always does. My phone buzzed. Adam's text. Where are you? Meet me for lunch. Don't be late. Ethan read it over my shoulder. He knows you know something. You've got maybe 24 hours. And in that moment, I realized Ethan wasn't just warning me. He was choosing sides. The rehearsal dinner looked perfect in photos, fairy lights, polished cutlery, a bride-to-be glowing. But inside, I was holding onto a storm. Adam raised a toast, charming as ever. To my fiancé, who makes even chaos elegant, he said, and everyone laughed. Then Sophie, the caterer's name he used for his mistress, texted my phone while I sat beside him. I'd renamed her contact, but the words froze me. Tomorrow, love. One last night before vows. Emily caught my hand under the table. You can't do this alone, she whispered. I excused myself and slipped to the restroom, where Ethan was already waiting. He'd read my panicked glance across the room. He handed me a folded receipt. Found this in Adam's glove box, he murmured. Hotel bill from last week. 2 guests. 1 champagne bottle. Signature forged in your name. I traced the fake C on the receipt like it was an insult burned into my skin. He's planning to drag you into his mess, Ethan said grimly. Dead under your name, affairs under his freedom. He'll stand at that altar spotless. I wanted to throw the paper in Adam's face. Instead, I slipped it into my bag. Back in the dining room, Adam teased me loudly for powdering my nose too long, and guests laughed again. His charm was a shield I couldn't crack yet. After dinner, I drove in circles, Ethan trailing me in his car. Finally, I pulled over at a quiet overlook. He parked beside me. We sat in silence until I blurted, "If I don't stop this, my whole life ends in chains." Ethan looked at me, steady. "Then don't let it happen." For the first time in weeks, I felt seen, not as Adam's fiancé, but as Claire. And when Ethan reached for my hand, I didn't pull away fast enough. That night blurred into something reckless. We drove downtown, parked by a dive bar with neon that flickered like nerves, and walked in together. Ethan ordered whiskey. I stuck with soda, but the burn in my chest wasn't from the drink. It was from his quiet confession. I've wanted to stop him for years, but I didn't know how. Now you've given me the proof. We laughed too hard at bad karaoke, a release valve for pressure that had been choking me for months. On a rooftop overlooking the city, the laughter cracked into silence. Ethan told me stories, how Adam used to lie to their parents, how debts mysteriously vanished, how women cycled in and out of his orbit. I told him how I'd built my life carefully, paycheck to paycheck, only to realize Adam had turned it into his chessboard. The night wasn't about romance. It was about fury and relief colliding in one raw space. We didn't cross the line fully. PG-13 life isn't a movie, but I won't lie. We leaned too close, we touched, we shared confessions that blurred with sparks. For the first time in months, I felt like someone wanted me safe, not trapped. At dawn, Ethan drove me home. He pulled out a flash drive. Copies of his prenup drafts, bank trails, hidden accounts. I backed them up months ago. He hesitated. I was waiting for the right moment. I guess it's now. The drive felt like a grenade in my palm. Proof undeniable. Inside, my phone lit up with Adam's message. Don't forget the dress fitting. Love you. 2 words scalded me more than any receipt. Love you. They felt like a counterfeit bill. And that's when I realized Adam had engineered this trap to look consensual. Sleep didn't come that morning. My apartment felt like a crime scene, every corner whispering reminders of Adam's manipulation. The dress bag hung in the closet like a coffin for my freedom. Emily came over, coffee in one hand, fury in her eyes. "You look wrecked," she said, scanning me. "What happened last night?" I didn't answer directly, but I handed her Ethan's flash drive. This happened. Emily plugged it into her laptop, and the screen filled with files, prenup drafts with revisions in Adam's handwriting, transfers from my joint savings into accounts I didn't recognize, invoices for jewelry and dinners all dated when I was supposedly out of town. Emily scrolled, jaw tightening. "He's been plotting this. Claire, he's setting you up to be the scapegoat when it collapses." Tears burned behind my eyes. "And I almost married him." "Almost," Emily emphasized. "You still have time to stop it." I told her about Ethan's help. She raised an eyebrow but didn't press. "If he's really on our side, use it. Adam only wins if you stay quiet." That afternoon, Adam called. His voice was sugar over poison. "Hey, babe. Big week. Let's keep things smooth, yeah? No stress. I booked us a dinner tonight, just us. We're something red. You know I love you in red." I hung up before I could choke on my own silence. Emily put her hand on mine. "So, do we gather more, or confront him now?" I looked at the laptop screen, at my life reduced to documents of betrayal. And I knew Adam had left me no choice but to burn the wedding down. The dinner Adam planned was in a candlelit restaurant, the kind where servers glide instead of walk. He smiled across the table like nothing had happened. "To us," he toasted, eyes glinting. I forced a smile. My hands trembled under the tablecloth. Adam leaned in. "You've been distant. Don't let nerves ruin our moment. I need your full trust." The word need cracked me open. I asked casually. Strange that trust feels like signatures on things I never signed. His smile faltered. "What are you talking about?" I slid a photocopy of the forged hotel bill across the table. Adam's face stiffened. He chuckled, low and dangerous. "You shouldn't snoop, Claire. Makes you look paranoid." "Paranoid?" I snapped, louder than I intended. Heads turned. "Paranoid is when I wonder if your mistress signs my name on bills." Adam's charm flickered, then snapped back into place. He leaned closer, voice a hiss. Careful. Nobody believes hysterical brides. The words lodged like a knife. When the check came, Adam signed his name with a flourish, then whispered, Keep quiet, or you'll regret it. I stumbled outside, air sharp in my lungs. Ethan's car idled at the curb. He rolled down the window. Get in. I slid into the passenger seat, shaking. He handed me another envelope. Bank statements this time. You're not crazy. He's been funneling money into a prenup clause. You need to see this. I opened the file under the streetlight. It was worse than I imagined. Adam hadn't just cheated. He had planned to bankrupt me the moment we married. The next 24 hours blurred into frantic strategy. Emily spread files across my coffee table, Ethan pacing the small room like a lawyer preparing for trial. Here's the timeline, Emily said, pointing at receipts. This card charge overlaps with the night Claire was on shift. He used her ID for the reservation. That's forgery. Ethan added, this prenup addendum wasn't standard. He inserted it. See the margin notes? He wanted liability for his debts to shift onto Claire once they were married. I clutched the binder we'd built, every page screaming betrayal. If I confront him privately, he'll spin it. If I wait until the wedding, I risk looking unhinged. Ethan leaned on the counter, steady. Then do it smart. Neutral ground. Witnesses. Somewhere he can't scream you down. Emily nodded. Tomorrow morning, before the ceremony, call for a sit-down at the venue. Have Ryan's family, Ruth, whoever matters. Make him face the evidence. My stomach twisted. What if they all hate me for ruining the wedding? They'll hate him more once the truth's undeniable, Ethan said. His eyes softened. And you'll finally be free. That night, I stared at my gown again, still untouched in its plastic. For years, I'd pictured walking down the aisle, veil trailing, smiles everywhere. Now the veil felt like a blindfold, and the aisle like a trap. At midnight, Adam texted, Tomorrow is ours, baby. Don't ruin it. I deleted the message. And with trembling hands, I zipped the binder shut, ready to shatter his perfect illusion. The morning before the wedding felt unreal. My phone buzzed with makeup reminders, florist updates, and my mother's frantic texts. Don't be late, darling. Everyone's excited. I wanted to scream. Emily brewed coffee while I clutched the binder. Are you sure you're ready? She asked. No, I whispered. But if I wait, he wins. At 9, Adam showed up at my apartment without warning. His knock was firm, entitled. I opened the door, binder hidden behind me. He leaned in with his most charming smile. You look pale, Claire. Big day nerves? I forced calm. We need to talk. His jaw tightened. Not now? I need you radiant, not hysterical. I stepped aside, refusing to let him in. I found the prenup edits. I found the hotel bills. I know everything. For the first time, Adam's mask cracked. His voice dropped, low and venomous. If you speak one word at the ceremony, I'll make sure nobody ever believes you. You'll be the bitter bride, the unstable one. I'll own the narrative, Claire, not you. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would break my ribs. Then Ethan's car pulled up outside. He stepped out, eyes locked on Adam. She's not alone this time, Ethan said. Adam sneered. Of course. My brother the saint. Careful, Ethan. You'll regret taking her side. I closed the door, my body trembling. And I realized Adam wasn't just cruel. He was ready to destroy me publicly. The rehearsal brunch felt like a stage for lies. White linens, champagne glasses, and smiling guests. All of it sickened me. Adam worked the room like a politician, kissing cheeks, flashing dimples. To everyone else, he was the perfect groom. But Ethan stood near the door, binder under his arm. Emily hovered beside him, her face tight with determination. When the room quieted for speeches, Adam raised his glass. To my beautiful bride, he began, smirking toward me. The woman who makes me whole, even when she doubts herself. The words dripped with poison. A few relatives chuckled politely. My throat burned. I rose, my knees shaking. Actually, before we toast, I have something to share. Gasps rippled. Adam froze, smile rigid. Claire, sit down, he ordered. I shook my head. Ethan handed me the binder. My hands quivered as I opened it. This isn't nerves. This is proof. Proof that Adam has lied, cheated, and planned to ruin me. I laid out the documents. Forged bills, prenup edits, transfers from my savings. Murmurs surged like a wave. Emily stepped forward. We verified these through bank statements. They're real. Adam laughed hollowly. She's paranoid. Everyone knows brides get emotional. My brother and her sister have been feeding her nonsense. Ethan's voice cut through. Stop lying, Adam. I've watched you pull these tricks for years. The room stilled, and in that silence, I saw Adam's mask start to finally slip. The confrontation exploded. Adam lunged forward, yanking the binder from my hands. Pages scattered across the floor. Guests bent down, picking them up, reading aloud in confusion. What's this transfer? One aunt whispered. 10,000 to a private account. A cousin muttered. These signatures don't even match. Adam's face flushed red. This is slander, he shouted. She's been manipulated by Ethan. He's always wanted what I had. Ethan stepped forward, calm but firm. This isn't about me, Adam. It's about your choices. You thought you could trap Claire into debts. She didn't know. You thought you could cheat and walk away clean. Not this time. Mark's father, the venue manager, spoke up. I've seen brides get cold feet, but I've never seen this kind of evidence at a wedding. If even half of this is true, Adam, you've got explaining to do. Adam's eyes darted wildly, searching for an ally. My mother wept quietly at the corner table. Emily's hand found mine, steady and strong. Then Adam pointed at me, voice cracking. If you ruin this day, Claire, I'll ruin you. Every friend, every colleague. You'll be known as unstable, vindictive. Nobody will want to touch you again. The words shook me, but then I heard Ethan whisper behind me. Truth wins louder than threats. And in that moment, I knew it was time to cancel the wedding entirely. The room erupted into chaos. Relatives argued in whispers and shouts, the clinking of glasses cutting through the air like broken bells. Adam tried to charm a few cousins into laughing it off, but the binder pages spoke louder than he ever could. Ryan's uncle, a banker, squinted at a transfer slip. These dates line up with Claire's savings account. This isn't fabricated. Emily's voice rose above the noise. He cheated, he stole, and he gaslit my sister. If you want to believe this is just wedding stress, fine, but the truth is right here in black and white. Adam's smirk faltered completely. He turned on Ethan. You've always been jealous. This is your chance, isn't it? Steal my fiancé, ruin me, and play the hero. Ethan didn't flinch. I didn't steal anyone. You threw her away when you chose lies. The guests stared, stunned into silence. Adam's eyes narrowed, fury trembling in his jaw. He stormed toward me, finger pointed. If you cancel this wedding, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. My legs shook, but my voice didn't. Better regret a canceled wedding than regret marrying a fraud. And with those words, I watched Ryan's father step forward and call the wedding off. The days after the canceled wedding were brutal. My phone lit up with texts, half offering sympathy, half dripping with blame. Some relatives said I'd overreacted, that everyone makes mistakes. Others told me I'd saved myself from a lifetime of misery. Adam launched his smear campaign immediately. Social posts hinted I was unstable, dramatic, manipulated by Ethan. But every lie he tried to spread crumbled under the documents we'd released. Lawyer Chun had helped notarize copies, confirming their authenticity. One night, Ethan dropped by my apartment with takeout. We sat cross-legged on the floor, exhausted but alive. He handed me noodles and said quietly, "You did the right thing. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise." I stared at him, really stared. "Do you regret helping me? Knowing Adam will never forgive you?" He shook his head. "I'd rather lose a brother than watch him destroy you." It wasn't romantic, it was honest. And that honesty, after months of deceit, felt like the rarest gift. Emily walked in later with dessert, teasing us for looking like battle survivors. "We should frame that binder," she joked, "like a war trophy." I laughed for the first time in weeks. Because I realized the real victory wasn't exposing Adam. It was reclaiming myself from his grip. Months passed before I felt steady again. Therapy helped me untangle the knots Adam had tied in my mind. I froze my credit, repaired accounts, and built back trust in myself one step at a time. Anna, the florist's daughter who had overheard Adam flirting, messaged me. "You don't know me, but thank you. You saved me too." I cried reading it. Ethan and I stayed in touch, carefully, respectfully. We never pretended the wild night was a fairy tale romance. It was survival, a strange collision of honesty, pain, and solidarity. Whatever came next would come slowly, without Adam's shadow hanging over us. Emily remained my anchor, reminding me daily that truth is never as destructive as silence. Ruth apologized for urging me to keep peace, admitting she'd mistaken comfort for safety. Slowly, I began to trust my own voice again. Looking back, the lesson was clear. Loyalty without respect is captivity, and love without honesty is just performance. So if you ever face the choice between protecting appearances or protecting yourself, choose yourself. Because the most shocking truth wasn't Adam's betrayal. It was discovering how strong I could be when I finally stopped protecting his lies.